Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 14, text 3. If anyone needs to go first, please raise your hand. Yes, Aditi Lata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadhami yaham Sambhava sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mama yonyo mahad brahma tasmin garbham dayadmiha aham sarvabhava sarvam
Sambhavah sarvabhutanam
sambhava sarvabhutanam tato bhavanti bharataha. Translation. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I am serving, making possible the births of all living things, O son of God. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Achyut Priya Arundhati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranams. Jai Shri Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada. Jai Glories to His Summit.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्मा तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. Translation of Prabhupada given by Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: the total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings. O son of Bharata. Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Inba Inya. Jai Shri Mataji. Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mama yonirmahad brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham sambhava sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Inya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranam all worship Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्मा तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. Translation of Rosh Hashanah. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of birth.
Yeah.
Jaish is not available.
Okay. Isha.
मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Bharata. Son of Bharata is Bharata. Okay. Krishna Shish.
मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Madhava.
मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Rasapriya.
मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth. It is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the birth of all living beings, also of Bharata.
Yes. Usha Mataji is here. No. So next, Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham sambhavaha sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. The total material substance called Brahman, the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making it making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Thank you, Mataji. Saujanya Mataji and Pragya.
Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam Sarvesh Chitula Prabhupada, all glories to
Done with Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadhamiham sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Pragna is not.
Okay. Okay. Did anyone not recite yet? I'll also recite. Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, text 3. Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadhamyaham sambhavaha sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. The total material substance known as Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Okay, let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 3. And it's actually, I think, Usha Mataji, Sonia Mataji or Usha Mataji's turn. They're not here, so Priyanka Haripriya Mataji, your turn. Right? Did Rasapriya read last yesterday? I think. Madhavan and Rasapriya read yesterday. Is that right? Anyone remembers?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
And Mataji, from yesterday, I have one question
Ah.
regarding the Prabhash Sutra. So, how the Prabhash Sutra is defined? Like, how it is decided that this is
Paribhasha Sutra.
Paribhasha Sutra, yeah.
How is it defined?
Yeah, how it is decided that this verse is the Paribhasha Sutra for the entire.
There is a lot
Quran.
of work. Yeah, there's a lot of commentary given by Srila Jiva Goswami and other acharyas, especially Jiva Goswami, about how this is the Paribhasha Sutra. So for that you'll have to read that. But there is an explanation. We also studied it when I did Bhakti Vaibhav. It was explained how it is arrived at. It was a several day. It was explained in several days, but yeah, that's not explained here by Srila Prabhupada in the purport how it is arrived at. But the principle of Paribhasha Sutra is not just Srimad Bhagavatam. Any book or any literature or any game or any program, computer program, can have something like Paribhasha Sutra. It will have a different name. But Paribhasha Sutra means it is a universal truth, universal law kind of thing. That means whenever it appears in any part of the book or in any part of that particular program or work, that gets the upper hand always. That is what is Paribhasha Sutra. And here in Srimad Bhagavatam, your question is how it is decided as Paribhasha Sutra. There is a a lot of explanation, and I had studied it several years ago, a few years ago. So I don't remember the details, but separately maybe I can go over my notes and explain it to you how it is Paribhasha Sutra, but it's a
So,
long.
Mataji, it is decided by the acharyas, right? That
It is
they have
decided
explained
by the acharyas based on proof. I mean,
proof.
it's just like how you prove Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate authority. It is decided by acharyas, but they actually prove it. Srila Jiva Goswami specifically, he just establishes it. So similarly,
Okay.
this also based on scriptural references only, he
References.
establishes
Yes.
that this is the Paribhasha Sutra. There is no other Paribhasha. This itself is Paribhasha Sutra. So
Okay.
taking shlokas from scriptures from Srimad Bhagavatam, and because Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest authority, he actually proves that this is the Paribhasha Sutra.
Okay.
So if you want to go over it, then I can just study and tell you. If you're
It is in yes, Mataji. Is it in Tattva Sandarbha?
Paribhasha Sutra will come in Krama Sandarbha, I believe, because that's the Srimad Bhagavatam commentary.
Okay. Yes, Mataji, please do tell that also, because one can challenge this also.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
we should know about this as well.
Actually, even Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also has proved that it is Paribhasha Sutra. Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also. So yeah,
Okay.
I will go over the notes, and it may not be right away, but when I get
Yes,
some time.
Mataji. Yeah. Whenever. Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So let's read text 3 today. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 3. अवतीर्य यदोर्वंशे भगवान् भूतभावनः कृतवान् यानि विश्वात्मा तानि नो वद विस्तरात्. Yes, Mataji. Priyanka.
Yes, Mataji. The super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. Please tell me elaborately about his glorious activities and character from the beginning to the end of his life.
Yeah. Purport. Saujanya Mataji. Are you able to read, Saujanya Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. In this verse, the words Kritavan
Yani.
Kritavan Yani indicates that all the different activities Krishna performed while present on earth are beneficial to human society. If religionists, philosophers, and people in general simply hear the activities of Krishna, they will be liberated. We have described several times that there are two kinds of Krishna Katha represented by Bhagavad Gita, spoken personally by Krishna about himself, and Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by Sukadeva Goswami about the glories of Krishna. Anyone who becomes even slightly interested in Krishna Katha is liberated. Kirtanad eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter.
Bhagavatam,
12th chapter, 3rd canto, 51 shloka.
12th canto, 3rd chapter.
12th canto, 3rd chapter, 51 verse. Simply by chanting or repeating Krishna Katha, one is liberated from the contamination of Kali Yuga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna Upadesha. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 7.1 to 8. This is the mission of Krishna consciousness, to hear about Krishna and thus be liberated from material bondage. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, The super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. Avatirya Yador Vamse Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavana. Please tell me elaborately about his glorious activities and character from the beginning to the end of his life. Kritavan Yani Vishvatma Tani No Vada Vistara. So, what is the context of this verse? What was said previously? If you remember yesterday's verse, Parikshit Maharaj said, "O Sukadev Goswami, please, I gave you two, actually three, but I'll just tell you the one which is relevant, the interpretation which is relevant to the next verse." So in yesterday's verse we read that Tatramshenavatirnasya Vishnor Viryani Samshanaha. So one of the interpretations was, O Sukadev Goswami, please tell unto us Vishnu's activities who appeared in Yaduvamsa. So then what about this Amsha? Amsha means, O Sukadev Goswami, please tell me or tell us about the activities, wonderful activities of, no, not wonderful activities. Please tell me Amsha, a portion of the wonderful activities. Okay? O Sukadev Goswami, Shamsanaha means please tell unto us Amsha Viryani, a portion of the wonderful activities of who? Of Vishnu, who appeared Tatra, where? In Yaduvamsa. So, what was the context? Sukadev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj is saying, please describe a portion of the Lord's activities to me, because first of all, it is not possible for anyone to describe all the activities of the Lord. And besides, I don't even have time. I have only, I told you, right? This is the fourth day, end of fourth day. 3 more days remaining. So all the activities, it's, I mean, even if you simply said it is not possible to describe all the activities, that is sufficient. It's not possible for anyone to describe. So I'm not asking you to describe all, just describe a portion. So then the context here is Sukadev Goswami would say that, oh, you want to hear a portion, but I already described a portion. Where did he describe a portion? The last 2 verses of the 9th canto, chapter 24, text 66 and 67. So I described a portion. So when Sukadev Goswami said, I already described a portion, then in answer to that, Parikshit Maharaj would say this verse. What is he saying? Avatirya Yador Vamse. That means the Lord who appeared in Yadu Vamsha. Who is that? Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavana. This is important here. This word is important. Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavana. So the Lord who appeared in Yadu Vamsa, and his adjective to the Lord is Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavana. He is Bhuta Bhavana. What about him? Kritavan, his activities. Yani means his. Kritavan Yani Vishwatma. He is the Lord of the universe. I want to hear his activities. Tani no vada. No means unto me or unto us. Vada, please speak. Vistarat, in detail. So what is Parikshit Maharaj saying? Yes, I agree that you have already spoken a portion of the Lord's activities, but you have only spoken in very few words. We saw yesterday how many words he used, at most 4 sentences. for all the pastimes of Krishna from beginning until his appearance up to his disappearance. So I'm not asking you to describe everything. I'm asking you to describe, you have already described a portion. Whatever you have given a portion, the same thing, now you use more words to say the same thing, that portion only, now you explain elaborately. That is the meaning. Okay, please explain that portion elaborately. Now this is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary like this. Okay. So when he says describe Vistarat, and that means that portion, now you explain in detail. In detail. In detail means use more words. Why? Because we are not as intelligent, right? When someone is very intelligent, you speak even in cryptic language, they will understand what it means. You use some sign language, they'll get the message. For example, in Mahabharata, Vidura gave a message, a cryptic message to Yudhishthir Maharaj when they were going to Lakshagraha. The message was given because he was not able to speak openly, clearly. He was surrounded by Duryodhan and his people. He wanted to inform Yudhishthir Maharaj about Duryodhan's plot to kill them. But how did he speak? He could not speak openly. So he gave in a sign language. But Yudhishthir Maharaj was so smart, he just got the message right away. That sign language, or that, cryptic message that Vidura gave, Yudhishthir Maharaj could understand. Did others understand? Others didn't understand. So what Parikshit Maharaj is saying here is that, yes, you have explained, but you are so exalted. You have given everything in 4 lines, but we are not like that. We are not so advanced. We cannot understand in 4 lines. It has to be elaborated more. Elaborated means explain that portion only, but using more words. Use more words so that we can understand. We means myself and everyone else who's present here. This conversation is happening between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami, and all the great personalities, sages had assembled there from the entire universe. They had come and they had assembled there on the bank of the Ganges. So Parikshit Maharaj is saying, we are all not like you. So super advanced in bhakti. We are not like that. So please, for our sake, so that we will understand, you use more words. So that is the context of this verse. When Parikshit Maharaj says, Avatirya Yador Vamshe Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavanaha Kritavan Yani Vishwatma Tani Novada Vistarat. Please explain in detail means that portion only. Now you explain in detail. Now another significant point here is Bhuta Bhavanaha. Whose activities am I asking you to describe? I am asking you to describe the activities of Bhagavan, who is Bhuta Bhavanaha. Bhuta Bhavanaha means, Bhuta means what? Living entities. Bhavanaha. Bhavanaha means one who can bhava. Like in bhakti, you have prema and bhava, right? So, one who can make all the bhutas, all the living entities, possessors of bhava. Bhava means love, ecstasy. He is only Bhagavan, specifically here Krishna. That's why he's called Krishna. Krishna means he's all attractive. Only he has that capacity to actually make every living entity a possessor or possess love for him. So in simple words, it means he can attract everyone. He can attract the love from the hearts of every type of living entity. How? Because his activities are so wonderful. Everything about him. His form is so beautiful. His qualities are so wonderful. His names are so sweet, so wonderful. He Only he has such attributes, his form, his activities. So all types of people, not just human beings. Cows get attracted to Krishna, trees, plants, demigods, men, women, children, everyone. And also those who are jnanis, those who are yogis, those who are pure devotees, of course, mixed devotees, even karmis. Everyone gets attracted to Krishna's wonderful activities. This is the point. If you read about Krishna's, so you read about Krishna's Grihastha ashram in Dwaraka, his dealings, how he is the best husband, you can hear, you can see. And if you are looking at love affairs, how he is the best lover. Nobody can surpass him. And his chivalrous activities, you see, when he fought. So everything, all his activities are super excellent. And only he has this capacity to not draw, to make everyone possessors of love for him. So how everyone is getting this love? He is investing his love for him. He is investing in their hearts. How? Because this prema, what is this prema? Bhakti, right? Prema, bhakti is prema only, right? Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti, you have sadhana, bhava and prema. There is prema in all stages, but in sadhana bhakti, it's a very small quantity. In bhava bhakti, it is more, and in prema bhakti, it is ultimate. So it's just like the example that our acharyas give is when you eat. With every morsel, with first morsel of food that you eat, let's say you're very hungry, you take one morsel of prasad. As soon as you eat one morsel, even that morsel is satisfying your hunger to some extent. Yes, it is satisfying your hunger to some extent. It is satisfying your taste, right? It is giving you some satisfaction as far as tasting the food. And also it's giving you some nourishment to some extent. But if you simply ate one morsel, can you say that your hunger is mitigated and you are satisfied? You cannot say. When you eat 15 to 20 morsels, then you can say, now my hunger is sufficiently mitigated and I feel sufficiently, I have enjoyed it sufficiently. Let's say, everyone likes sweets, right? Let's say ice cream. Okay, so you have ice cream and you just licked it once. Can you say that you have enjoyed the ice cream and now you're satisfied? No. But even that one little bit first taste is giving you some satisfaction, but it's not complete yet. So the prema that you experience in sadhana bhakti is like that first morsel, second morsel. There is some prema, but it is not sufficient enough for you to actually feel that, yes, this is, you're actually experiencing prema. It is there, but it's very small. So you have to cross a threshold, a minimum, right? As you say, the break-even point. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but you have to meet that threshold. Then after that point, you can actually say, yes, you're experiencing prema. It doesn't mean it was not there before, but it is a very small quantity. So this is how it is explained. So this prema, how devotees are experiencing this prema for Krishna. This prema, so why I explained this is because bhakti means prema. That's why I was telling you this analogy. So bhakti, what is this bhakti? It is the condensed form of the Lord's Halladini Shakti. Halladini Shakti means the pleasure-giving potency. Srimati Radharani. The condensed form of the pleasure-giving potency is Bhakti. So this pleasure-giving potency is whose? It is the Lord's internal potency. Internal means it is within him. It's not outside of him. It is in him. In other words, it cannot be separated from him. You cannot separate that which is internal from the personality. You cannot separate. External, yes, can be separated. Internal cannot be separated. So this internal energy, it has many, functions. One of them is the Haladini Shakti. This condensed form of this Haladini Shakti is Bhakti. So this is the Lord's personal, internal. Bhakti is his. And he enjoys his own potency. He enjoys it. And to expand his enjoyment, what does he do? His own bhakti, which is the condensed form of his own pleasure potency, he now invests it in the hearts of devotees. He invests it, his property, his bhakti, right? That which he relishes, he enjoys, that bhakti, he puts in the hearts of different devotees. And then when the devotee, because of that bhakti, when the devotee is serving the Lord, what is Krishna tasting? He's tasting that bhakti. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tad aham ashnami bhakti upahritam. Bhakti upahritam. So he is not tasting our patram pushpam, he is tasting bhakti. Whose bhakti is this? It is his bhakti only. So when he is pleased, when he shows his mercy on somebody, and there's more discussion on that, how, when he will give it, but eventually when he gives it, he invests it in someone's heart, and out of that bhakti, that devotee renders various services to Krishna. That devotee is experiencing that love for Krishna. Bhakti means, that's why I explained, bhakti is same as prema. So that prema he is experiencing for Krishna, and in that prema he is rendering so many wonderful services to Krishna, and Krishna is enjoying that. He's enjoying that. But is it that devotee's property, that bhakti? No, it is his own property. He is investing in everyone's heart. Like that. So Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavana means Bhuta, in all living entities. He is making them possessor of that bhava. What is that bhava? Bhakti only. Prema. He is making them possess that bhava, means he is actually investing his prema in them. And as a result of that bhava, as a result of that prema, they are rendering, they become completely attracted to Krishna, and they render various services to Krishna, and Krishna enjoys that. So what is Parikshit Maharaj saying? You tell me about Kritavan, all the Krita activities, Yani of his, Vishwatma. Whose activities? Bhagavan, who is Bhuta Bhavana, right? That personality who is able to make all living entities possessors of love, of bhakti. And how is he able to do that? How does he do that? By his wonderful activities. Of course, activities means his qualities, his name, form, everything. By that, he's able to, because his activities are supremely wonderful. And only he can do this. All types of living entities, every single living entity becomes attracted to him. So you tell me such activities of Bhagavan, Krishna, which can attract all living entities. You tell me those activities, Vistarat, in detail. And I explain to you what in detail means, right? Vistarat means That portion only, whatever portion that you have described, but you explain it in elaborately, the same thing. I'm not saying describe everything, but describe that portion elaborately. So now we'll look at the translation one more time. The Super Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. Please tell me elaborately about his growth. Okay, now Bhuta Bhavanaha here is also translated as the cause of the cosmic manifestation. So the explanation that I gave you for Bhuta Bhavana is by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Okay. So the Super Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. Please tell me elaborately about his glorious activities and character from the beginning to the end of his life. And that's what he had explained in those 2 verses also. I told you from the beginning how right after his birth he left his father's home and he went to Vrindavan, it is said. From there it started and it ended. And finally, he disappeared from this world after giving instructions to Uddhava. So from beginning to end, same thing. But tell it in detail. And then Srila Prabhupada is saying, Kritavan Yani means what? The different activities of Krishna that he performed while he was on this earth. These activities are very beneficial to human society. What Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadev Goswami to describe Krishna's activities, they're actually very beneficial. So in further next verses, we will see how these activities, hearing of these activities, speaking of these activities, how these are beneficial, we will see later in the next few verses. But Parikshit Maharaj, when he said, please describe the activities of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada is saying that these activities, different activities of Krishna that he performed while he was on this earth, these activities are very beneficial. Hearing of these activities are very beneficial to human society. Then, if religionists, philosophers, and people in general simply hear the activities of Krishna, right? Just let that sound vibration enter the ear holes. If they simply hear about these activities of Krishna, by that hearing they will become liberated. People in general, anyone, we have described several times. So now where do you find these activities of Krishna? So Srila Prabhupada is saying Krishna's activities are of 2 types. Krishna Katha, in other words, Krishna Katha is of 2 types. One is the words spoken by Krishna, and the second one is words speaking about Krishna. So words spoken by Krishna is Bhagavad Gita, and words spoken about Krishna is Srimad Bhagavatam. So what should the human society hear? Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply by hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, what will happen? All types of people, they will become liberated. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramraji. Right? Kirtan of Krishna. When you do that, you become Mukta Sangha. Sangha means material association, entanglement. Mukta Sangha means you will become liberated from such material attachment. That means you become liberated from this material existence. Kirtanadeva, only by this kirtan, simply by kirtan of Krishna, Krishna Katha. That means Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and in Srimad Bhagavatam, everything is holy names of Krishna are also there. Mukta Sangha Param Rajet. Simply by chanting or repeating Krishna Katha, one is liberated from the contamination of Kali Yuga. So this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, this is his mission. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. What is Krishna Upadesh? Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. So whoever you meet, you tell them Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. What will happen by this? Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Rajet. When they simply hear this Krishna Katha, either Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, they become liberated. All types of people, religionists, philosophers, and people in general. This is the mission of Krishna consciousness, to hear about Krishna and thus be liberated from material bondage. Okay, maybe we can read one more verse. Text 4. This is a big one, but we'll just start. Divrittatarshairupagiyamanat bhavaushadhachrotramanobhiramat Gauttamashlokagunanuvadat Puman virajyeta vina pashugnath. So Saujanya Mataji read. So now Achyutriya Arundhati Mataji.
Krishna. Purport or translation, Mataji?
Translation.
Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system, that means it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is realized by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, we will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So, Aditi Lata Mataji, Arunita, there's a big purport, so you won't be reading the whole thing. Just you can start. You read it today and we will discuss it tomorrow.
Okay,
Go ahead,
Mataji.
Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In India, it is the practice among the general populace to hear about Krishna, either from Bhagavad Gita or from Srimad Bhagavatam, in order to gain relief from the disease of repeated birth and death. Although India is now fallen, when there is a message that someone will speak about Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, thousands of people still gather to hear. This verse indicates, however, that such recitation of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam must be done by persons completely freed from material desires. Nirvata Darisha. Everyone within this material world, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant, is full of material desires for sense enjoyment, and everyone is busy in sense gratification. But when thus engaged, one cannot fully understand the value of Krishna Katha, either in the form of Bhagavad Gita or in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, 1 second. So, we saw that previous verse purport we read that Krishna Katha is 2 types, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. But when will this hearing, we read that simply by hearing this Bhagavad Krishna Katha, one becomes liberated. When will one be liberated? When one hears from a person who is free from all material desires for sense enjoyment. When such a person speaks, then you'll become liberated. But if someone is still having material desires and is, has desires and is engaged, what to speak of engaging in sense gratification, when such a person speaks, even though he's speaking Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, it will not have the same effect. Next, Aditi Lata Mataji.
If we hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from liberated persons, this hearing will certainly free us from the bondage of material activities. But hearing Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by a professional reciter cannot actually help us achieve liberation. Krishna Katha is very simple. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As he himself explains, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. O Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Bhagavad Gita 7.7. Simply by understanding this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become a liberated person. But especially in this age, because people are interested in hearing Bhagavad Gita from unscrupulous persons who depart from the simple presentation of Bhagavad Gita and distort it for their personal satisfaction, they fail to derive the real benefit. There are big scholars, politicians, philosophers, and scientists who speak on Bhagavad Gita in their own polluted way, and people in general hear from them, being uninterested in hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from a devotee. A devotee is one who has no other motive for reciting Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam than to serve the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore advised us to hear the glories of the Lord from a realized person. Bhagavata Parodiya, Bhagavata Parodiya, Bhagavata Sthane. Unless one is personally a realized soul in the science of Krishna consciousness, a neophyte should not approach him to hear about the Lord. For this is strictly forbidden by Srila Sanatan Goswami, who quotes from the Padma Purana. Avaishnava Mukhodgrinam Putam.
Mataji, you can stop here, Mataji. Let me discuss this part, this paragraph. Thank you. Okay, so we should not hear from one who has material desires. That was said in the first paragraph. Then who should we hear from? What is the result who should we hear from in order to become liberated? When we hear the glories of the Supreme Lord, in other words, when we hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from liberated persons. Liberated persons. Who is liberated? Or one who is liberated, he has no more material desires. He has no more material desires. So when you hear from a liberated person, then that hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita will free us from the bondage of material activities. So again, professional reciter means he has material desires. So that is not going to give you liberation. It can give you some material benedictions, certainly. It is Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, so you are hearing from materialistic people, you'll get some, because it is still Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, you'll get some material benediction. But you won't get liberation, and what to speak of getting Krishna Prema, that you cannot get. Okay. And how do you understand this Krishna Katha? Okay, you have to hear from a liberated person. So liberated person will not have any ulterior motive, right? A liberated person will speak the message as it is. It is a person with material desires who will distort the real meaning of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam for his ulterior motives. So how should we understand? We should understand, Prabhupada is saying Krishna Katha is very simple. Whatever is said by Krishna, as it is, that's why he calls Bhagavad Gita as it is. Just accept it as it is. Don't twist and turn and, screw out some other meanings out of the simple, straightforward sentences. When Krishna says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya, that means Krishna is saying there is no truth superior to me. I am the highest truth. I am the absolute truth. There is nothing superior to me. It's not that Brahman is above the personal form. No, Krishna is clearly saying there is no truth superior to me. Me means me, Krishna, as standing before you. Any other form or whatever, nothing is superior to me. I am the ultimate. This is Krishna's statement. So if someone simply accepts this statement as Krishna said, then he becomes liberated. Krishna is the topmost. There's nobody beyond him. He becomes liberated. But unfortunately, people like to hear from, not from, they don't like when you say something simple, straightforward. It has to sound very complicated. Then they think, oh, now I'm getting something, more valuable. So they go and hear from, simple presentation of Bhagavad Gita, even speakers, Bhagavad Gita speakers, and they simply present straightforward way, then they think, we need something more, right? So that is actually a sign of Kali Yuga, Srila Prabhupada is saying. And the purport Srila Prabhupada is saying, right? Here. especially in this age, because people are interested in hearing Bhagavad Gita from unscrupulous persons who depart from simple presentation of Bhagavad Gita. Right? In Kali Yuga, we cannot accept that which is simply straightforward presented. We think this is not so great. Right? It has to be something fancy, right? With some decorations and this and that, and even, sometimes you see, they say, some speakers say that Bhagavad Gita for business, right? So Bhagavad Gita is actually teaching you business principles, how to succeed in business, or Bhagavad Gita for something else. Is Bhagavad Gita teaching us how to succeed in business? Think about it. Is Bhagavad Gita teaching us how to do well in school? Are we doing justice when we teach to somebody that, oh, if you study Bhagavad Gita will make you come first in your class? No, that's not the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. How to make friends with others, you will learn from Bhagavad Gita. You'll be successful. Successful, okay, but successful, what is the definition of success according to you? Yes, successful, because you can make your human form of life a success. Not that materially you will, progress in this way and that way, and this is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching you. We shouldn't take out meanings like that from Bhagavad Gita's verses. Take the meaning simple, straightforward, as they are presented by Krishna, and then Srila Prabhupada is giving as it is, the purports. Simple, straightforward presentation. Because when we do that, that is actually beneficial to the people. That is actually beneficial. By hearing that, and if somebody accepts that, he becomes liberated. But this is Kali Yuga. So in Kali Yuga, people like to hear from unscrupulous persons. They don't like simple presentations, right? So then the result is they don't get the real benefit. They are hearing Bhagavad Gita, but they're thinking the goal of Bhagavad Gita is impersonal liberation, this and that. So they don't get the benefit of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada is saying that big scholars, politicians, philosophers, scientists who speak on Bhagavad Gita in their own polluted way. Yes, yes. And the people in general are, even now, this is not just in the past at the time of Prabhupada, even now, if you just type Bhagavad Gita and classes, you'll find all types of speakers, and some of them are really popular. They're very popular, famous names in South India also. And because they are big names, many people are watching. Now, if you hear their lecture, you will understand that is why you need to know both. Yesterday, what was the word? Muni Sattama. Remember? Why Parikshit Maharaj addressed Sukadev Goswami as Muni Sattama? Muni means he knows everything, and then he's also the best of the devotee. Now he can establish devotional service as the supreme, as the ultimate, because he knows everything. So similarly, one who understands what is not Bhagavad Gita, what is not supreme, and then what is supreme, you should hear from such a person, because he can establish very nicely. You don't know what is not right, and you just hear from anyone, and then you just accept whatever he's saying. This is the ultimate. It's like buying cheap, artificial diamonds and thinking that you got diamonds. For a cheap price you got them. No, you didn't get diamonds. It's like that. So these big speakers are there, and people think they are hearing Bhagavad Gita, and what is the conclusion? They say that ultimately you are all one. That's what Bhagavad Gita is teaching, they will say. And innocent, you can say innocent or ignorant people, They hear and they take, this is what it is. They take pride because I have heard, right? I'm following this person. So therefore, because I am following, this must be true. Otherwise, you'll become, in front of your friends and relatives, you will look like a fool that you're following some bogus person who is not giving you the actual knowledge. So therefore, because you are listening, now you defend that person, regardless of whether he is right or not. But to whose benefit? You are not benefiting. The person you are debating with is also not benefiting, nor is that person who's speaking benefiting. Nobody. But there's great injustice being done. By simply hearing Bhagavad Gita as it is, you will become liberated. But with all these distorted explanations, there is no benefit to anyone. So there are many big scholars, big politicians, philosophers, scientists. They speak on Bhagavad Gita, but in a polluted way. And people in general hear from them being uninterested in hearing the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead from a devotee. They hear from them, and then when they don't want to hear from a devotee, because usually, generally, they speak in a very charismatic way, and they like that, with music and everything, and then it's attractive to them. People in general, and with their, dramatic presentation, it's attractive. And when devotees speak, they're not interested to come in here. Unfortunate. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore advised us to hear the glories of the Lord from a realized person. Bhagavata parodiya Bhagavata sthane. Unless one is personally a realized soul in the science of Krishna consciousness, a neophyte should not approach him. Yeah, so don't approach anyone and everyone to hear Bhagavad Gita. Unless you're sure that this person is a realized person, don't hear Bhagavad Gita from him. Who's saying this? Or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. For this is strictly forbidden by Srila Sanatana Goswami from Padma Puran. So that we will continue tomorrow. We are already. So I'll bookmark it here. But also I wanted to actually explain the commentary. I'll do that after we do the purport, if we have time. It's a long purport. Look at that. So we'll continue the purport tomorrow. And Inba, you'll read. Okay? Let's read. Let's read Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 2. I think text 9. We completed text 8 yesterday. Arjun said that he wouldn't be happy. He wouldn't be able to drive away that grief even after winning an unrivaled kingdom on earth, or a kingdom like the heavens. Still he wouldn't be able to drive away that grief. Next verse. Sanjaya uvacha evamuktva hrishikesham Gudakeshah parantapah na yotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjun, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. So what was the last thing that Arjun said? Oh, what to speak of, because first he said, now I surrender unto you as your disciple, Karpanya dosho pata swabhava, right? I'm not able to solve the problem that I'm facing now. I cannot, this is such a grief, I'm not able to drive away this grief, it's drying up my senses. And there's no one who can solve this problem for me except you, so I'm becoming your disciple. Then if Krishna had said, why you have to become my disciple? Simply you fight and you enjoy, you get the kingdom, you'll enjoy and the grief will go away. Arjun said, no. simply by winning the kingdom, this grief is not going to go away. What to speak of getting a kingdom on earth? Even if I got, an unrivaled kingdom in all three worlds, right? Still, this grief won't go away. Purport. So then finally Arjun said, after saying that, he said, I'm not going to fight, right? He said, Govinda, I shall not fight. And he became silent. Purport. Dhritarashtra must have been very glad. Now this whole thing is being, how did Bhagavad Gita begin? Dhritarashtra Uvacha. That means Dhritarashtra and Sanjay are having a conversation, and Sanjay is narrating to Dhritarashtra what is happening on the battlefield. So now Dhritarashtra heard that Arjun is not going to fight. Arjun said, Govinda, I'm not going to fight. This Sanjay is telling to Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra must have been very glad to understand that Arjun was not going to fight and was instead leaving the battlefield for the begging profession. Right? What did Arjun say? Guru nahatva himahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaiksham. Bhaiksham means bhiksha. Bhaiksham apihalud. Right? It is better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls. Arjun said that. So Dhritarashtra became very happy, or at least we can conjecture that he must have become very happy when he heard that Arjun is going to leave the battlefield to take up the begging profession. Srila Prabhupada saying. But Sanjay disappointed him again in relating that Arjun was competent to kill his enemies, Parantapaha. Right? In this verse, what is Arjun? How is Arjun addressed? Parantapa, Gudakesha and Parantapa. Arjun is called Gudakesha and Parantapa. So Gudakesha also has a significance. Gudaka means sleep. Isha means controller. One who has controlled the sleep is called Gudakesha. Now what is this sleep? Sleep is compared to ignorance or Maya. And that means now temporarily he may be in Maya, but because he is with Krishna, very soon, because Krishna is the master of material energy, right? Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam, right? Under my control, this prakriti is acting. And that prakriti, maybe apparently for now, it appears like he's come under control of Maya, but because he's with Krishna, he's Gudakesha, right? He has conquered sleep and the sleep of ignorance. Huh? So Maya cannot cover him. Gudakesha and Parantapa. Parantapa means, Param means supremely, Tapa. Tapa means giving pain to the enemy. He's so powerful as a warrior that when he comes, even before fighting, the enemy becomes completely, nervous. They start fleeing. He's so fierce, a fighter. Parantapa. So Arjun said, Krishna, I'm not going to fight. Govinda, I'm not going to fight. But who said this? Parantapa said this. It's not that he's a, weak warrior out of fear. He's just going on. No, he's Parantapa and he's Gudakesha. So he's going to, don't become excited. Don't become excited too soon that he's going to leave. That's the point. That's how, who's speaking? Sanjaya Uvacha. Right? Sanjaya's words. Sanjaya is saying that when Hrishikesha, saying this to Hrishikesha, Gudakesha Parantapa said, Govinda, I won't fight. So who said? Parantapa said. Gudakesha said. Sanjaya is using these words. So by using those words, Sanjaya is disappointing Dhritarashtra, who's thinking that, oh, now Arjun is going to leave. No, he's not going to leave. He's Parantapa. He's not going to leave. But Sanjay disappointed him again in relating that Arjun was competent to kill his enemies, although Arjun was, for the time being, overwhelmed with false grief due to family affection. He surrendered to Krishna. That's already over, right? Text 7. Shishyasteham Shadi Mantvam. He surrendered to Krishna already. Now it's just a matter of time, right? Moments. So although Arjun was, for the time being, overwhelmed with false grief due to family affection, he surrendered unto Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, as a disciple. This indicated that he would soon be free from the false lamentation resulting from family affection and would be enlightened with perfect knowledge of self-realization or Krishna consciousness. So all we have to do is we have to surrender to Krishna. If you are surrendered to Krishna, even though it may appear like you're losing for now, actually you're not a loser, you're a winner. You're a winner because, exactly as it is said here, for the time being, you may be overwhelmed with false affection. But very soon, because of surrendering to Krishna, very soon you'll be free from this false lamentation coming from family affection. You'll be enlightened with perfect knowledge of self-realization or Krishna consciousness and would then surely fight. Thus, Dhritarashtra's joy would be frustrated since Arjun would be enlightened by Krishna and would fight to the end. So, what is the key to success? Surrender to Krishna. If you surrender to Krishna, what is a symptom of surrender? When you surrender to Krishna, what will happen? You'll be enlightened by Krishna. Right? When you surrender to Krishna, you'll begin devotional service.
Fearless.
Yeah, and of course, you'll become fearless. Correct, actually. One who surrenders to Krishna, he becomes fearless. That's the symptom of surrender. You become fearless because you'll be enlightened by Krishna. Okay, so now let's also read Srila Prabhupada's Leela.
Just a thought that in previous time, in this yuga, people used to speak in so floral language. See, so many nice ways. You know, one word you can say it in so many beautiful way. Whereas nowadays, he said, she said, she said, this, that. It's so boring. It's so monotonous.
Yes, actually. And also, so it's the language English and the Sanskrit language and languages coming from Sanskrit. So you have Bengali and you have, other languages also coming from the root of Sanskrit. They have so many feelings. They have words for different feelings, different relationships. It's actually so rich. If you simply learn that language, if you learn Sanskrit, it is said that your even scope broadens. It's not just because language is actually, it's a culture. It makes you enriched in culture because that language actually gives you a wider scope of understanding the world and understanding feelings and understanding relationships. Whereas in English, everything is like, just like straight. You just say friend, right? But just even simply from Bhagavad Gita, if you read, so many, you have Suhrid, you have Mitra, you have Bandhu, you have Sakha, so many, and everything is not the same. That each one is used in a particular context, like this about all the words. And it just gives such a rich, experience, isn't it?
In English, in US, people say that, oh, analyze your feeling. Like kids, they teach, in the elementary school and all, that why you are feeling, and they try to, make them understand that when they're having the hormonal change and all, so their moods are changing, what they're feeling, why they are feeling. But then those subtlety, they actually still do not know. I mean, they
They
feel,
cannot grasp it.
they
Yeah.
cannot, yeah, they cannot identify. So what is the opposite of Isha?
Isha, controller, opposite.
Is bonded labor, or what is it going to be?
Isha means the Lord, controller. So opposite would be one who is controlled. Who is controlled?
Andha.
Baddha Jiva is controlled. Actually, no, everyone is controlled. It's not like bondage. It's not exactly like that. So Isha is the Lord, is the controller, and then you have the servant. right? The servant who's controlled. Wait, what is that verse? Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. So, yeah. He's actually the maintainer and everyone else is maintained. He's the controller and everyone else is controlled. So what is the opposite of Isha? I don't know.
Guda Badha.
Anisha, I don't know.
For
Gudakesha.
yeah, no, for that is for Arjun, but I'm thinking of for what is the name? See, I'm getting blank. For the Kauravas, we can
As
say
one who cannot control. Yeah, actually they're, like you have Goswami and Godasa. So Dasa.
Gura
Swami means controller. Dasa means who's a servant. So one who's the controller of the senses is Goswami, and one who's controlled by the senses is Godas. So controller is Swami, controlled is Das.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think Guda Das or something.
Gudaka Das.
Das. And Parantapa's opposite, he is the one who is tortured. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Let's read some Leelamrita before we end. Continuation. Prabhupada had hoped for what the Voice article had referred to as his American church. There was life in his lectures and kirtans. And at least he was acquiring a small regular following. Really, this means a lot. It doesn't matter even if it is small, but if it is regular, that's actually very satisfying, right? So Srila Prabhupada in the initial days, he had at least a small regular following. But from India, there was no hope. He had continued corresponding with Sumati Morarji, his god brothers, and the Indian central government, but their replies had not been encouraging. Srila Prabhupada wanted to start a temple in America, actually build a temple, but he was not getting any help. But at least he had some people who were coming and listening to him regularly. In the faith that Padampat Singhania would agree to his plans for a Krishna temple in Manhattan and finance its construction, Prabhupada had petitioned New Delhi to sanction the release of foreign exchange. He had written to the Reserve Bank of India, New Delhi, I want to establish this cultural center, and for this I wish to get some exchange from India. I think there are good prospects all over the world for propagating the culture of how to love God in these days of forgetfulness. A month later, the Indian Bank had advised him to resubmit his request through the Indian Embassy in Washington to the Finance Minister of the Indian Central Government. Prabhupada had complied, and another month had passed with no word from the government. One of his god brothers had written that Swamiji should come back to India and work personally to get the government's sanction. But Prabhupada didn't want to leave America now. He wrote to Sumati Morarji, I'm trying to avoid the journey to India and again coming back, especially for the reason that I'm holding at the above address classes thrice a week and training some American youth in the matter of Sankirtan and devotional service to the Lord. Some of them are taking the lessons very sincerely, and in the future they may be very good Vaishnavas according to the rigid standards. So the rest we'll read tomorrow. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.